Jesus, what the hell is going on? Ew. Ugh.
The president is floating the idea that gang members over the age of 14 should be prosecuted as adults. And now he's sending his final warning that if crime in our nation's capital is not dealt with properly, the federal government may be forced to take over. Watch.
Somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Well, overall, violent crime has been trending downward across America. Murder, rape, robbery, all happening less than it was in 2023 compared to this time last year. But when you isolate our nation's capital, the statistics are eye-popping. The homicide rate, when compared to other major U.S. cities, is horrible. D.C. has the fourth worst murder rate in the U.S. for 2024, with nearly...
Should kids be held like adults at 14? No, in most cases. Yes, in severe cases. What do I mean by that? If the kid is just stealing, just stealing, and he doesn't stop, no, you shouldn't put him in. You should put him in juvie, but jail, no. If the kid is stabbing people and killing people, yes, you should put them in jail. And if not jail, a really hard juvie. If a kid is walking around beating people to a pulp, depending on the severity of the beatings and injuries people have sustained, I would say it can go either way, jail or juvie. That's a tough one for me. I don't know. 14-year-olds in jail, that's tough for me.
96% of those homicide suspects being men. More than 70% carried out by suspects between the ages of 18 and 34. And just last month, a congressional intern was murdered in the crossfire of a...
I could have told you that. Fucking all the criminals are young men. Woo. Could have saved you a lot of money. You didn't have to do a survey or do any research to figure that out.
Drive-by shooting. The suspect or suspects are still at large. And now his mom recently spoke with Fox News Digital, has given an emotional plea to lawmakers sitting on the D.C. Council.
What the heck are these people doing? What is the council doing? How are they protecting the people of D.C.? I don't care what neighborhood you're from. These people are not being protected. This isn't a joke anymore. People are getting killed.
Charles, why is this happening in our nation's capital?
Well, it's happening in other places too, but yeah, the statistics are obviously eye-popping there. I think the part about the gangs is really important, and also culture. You know, a year ago, my niece was shot.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she was shot and on my block, my old neighborhood, my old block, and she was there visiting. They were actually there. There was a memorial for a friend I grew up with, her son, who had been murdered the year before. Mm-hmm. And so she was also shot, and my niece had 4 hours emergency surgery. What was really nuts is so talking to the detectives, they had a suspect, a young person, 15 years old. They kind of knew who it was. They waited and waited and waited until he was finally arrested for murdering someone else.
That's not really good sounding, is it? People like that, you need to do a little bit better. If someone's out there physically hurting someone, you need to take them in and make sure everyone's okay before you just let them out in the street again. I don't know why people can't get that through their heads. It's not a hard concept to understand. It really isn't.
Wow.
Yeah, and this kid's father was on every TV channel in the Tri-State area crying uncontrollably. And I just said to myself, they knew who this kid was. They knew who he was, and they didn't go after him for whatever reason. In the meantime, the culture, particularly this drill music, which has been a problem for more than a decade, is getting worse and worse and worse. And it's something that's got to be identified, acknowledged, and dealt with. And
But you know how hard that is.
Drill music? Was he talking about rap? Is this guy one of those old timers that's like underneath the basement? Like, you hear some neighbors upstairs just rocking out, and the old man downstairs like, "Hey, that ain't music. That's not music." They're all turning up. They're all winding up their record player, trying to overdo the music upstairs. Is that this guy? No, I'm not gonna lie. Certain raps today can be a little bit much, and I can understand where he's coming from a little bit. But music's music, man. It's gonna go places where people would never think it would go.
Because people will scream free speech and they'll say, but you
can't, yeah, I mean, the music, I don't know you can outlaw music per se,
Right.
but I think you can have a counter message. There's got to be some sort of counter message to all of this, or it's just going to get worse, and it will be hidden in statistics.
Wow. Emily, what would change if President Trump does what he, thinks that he might have to do to make the district safe?
Yeah, he would be able to utilize federal resources. So instead of the state and local municipalities and authorities having a feckless prosecution rate and law enforcement that is hamstrung by city councils, instead he could say, you break the law, you get prosecuted, you get sentenced, you get put away. And they're actually put a police presence out there so that people who are walking down the street can actually be protected. And I want to share a little bit more of the full story, because as you read those really troubling and grim statistics, Harris, when you talked about, almost 96% of the homicide suspects in the district are male, well, almost 97% of those are Black American. And when you look at the victims, 18 to 34 and over 80+% of those are Black American. So for everyone saying Black Lives Matter, please, God, look to these communities, because Black lives are being destroyed. And when you look at the amount of the suspects there in D.C., many of them come from Maryland, from certain cities that also have a very lax approach to crime, or they are hamstrung, or there's nothing we can do, and they have to wait for more to be murdered before they can make arrests. There is clearly...
That's one thing that really bothered me about the defund the police, is that, sure, I guess that sounds good in your way of thinking. I not in my head, but when you say defund the police, what you're really doing is you're taking funding away from communities that require and rely on those police officers. You're taking away those resources. So all I have to say is all roads to hell, if not all, were built with good intentions.
A systemic rot and a malignance that is happening in a bunch of inner cities. And the people that are suffering the most are the Black American communities, and the infection is spreading. So everyone that burned down the country a few years ago needs to step up now and support federalization, legislation, and law and order enforcement.
Well, and we know President Trump is serious, because after the death of the killing of George Floyd, he told me in an interview, he said, look, I'll do what is necessary to bring the peace. When you were talking, you know what I thought?
George Floyd should not have happened. It should not have happened. He should have gotten better. He should not have had dude lying on his neck for that long, in my opinion. Now, I can't tell you that's the reason why he died. I would think that the reason he died is because of all the drugs that he had in his system. I mean, shoot, he almost had enough drugs in his system to kill an elephant. So, I can't say for sure the reasoning he died, but I would guess that he died because of all the drugs. They did put him into the car. They did say will put on the air when he said he couldn't breathe. The air was flowing. The AC in the car. So it's when you're being arrested, there's a certain level of comforts that you have a right to, absolutely. But there's a other list of comforts that's just been removed. So, I mean, he shouldn't have been on his neck for that long, but that's not the reason why he's dead.
Out of Cincinnati.
In my opinion.
I mean, what just happened in Cincinnati?
Yes.
It looked like this, like just complete lawlessness. The woman punched and beaten and lost consciousness, right? I mean, it's just out of control.
You know, when young people are learning about violence over values, you know we have a problem. Now, we know in New York City, bail reform, they're giving kids a break when they get, you know, involved with some kind of crime. But this is going...
As they should. The kids are stupid. They are. That's why they're kids. They're stupid and they need to be guided. And when they have no guidance around them to help them through their journey, this is what happens. So you can't blame the kid 100% of the time. Sometimes you can, absolutely. Sometimes kids are little fuckers. But most of the time, I would say it's someone else's fault for the kids' regard. So not all, but most of the time.
Too far, because now we're seeing more and more young people involved with the most violent crimes out there. What is going on? I know you talked about drill music. I remember when my son was younger, there was a big effort to watch what they were doing with video games. You know, some of those video games were so wild. It desensitized violence.
Right.
Oh my god, this bitch. Our kids aren't allowed, and they don't have the capability to understand the difference between what happens behind the screen and what happens in reality in front of their actual eyes. Oh my god, this bitch. Get rid of the whole argument. Video games make kids violent. If anything, it makes them less violent. It gives them a place to get all their rage out. Off with your yellow shirt ass.
Is that what these kids, is this the result now we're seeing with these young
The
kids?
irony is you said violence over values. In this case, it's violence equals values. That is your value, you know, to have a presence, to be someone, to have an imprint in your community, to be, to intimidate others. That's the value system.
Yeah, it's very gang activity. It's very mob activity.
Yeah, but it's on an individual level too. But it's just, you know, it keeps going further and further to violence being so careless and so reckless and just so inhumane.
Leslie, you live in a big city that's seen a lot over the last few years. I mean, the fires in LA, you've been through so much. And so we know about the looting and some of the things that have happened in downtown Los Angeles. And so you see some of this too.
Yeah, downtown Los Angeles, that was 3 blocks, and I wouldn't, liken that. But if you talk about, I agree with some of what Charles and Emily said regarding the systemic issues and regarding, the violence begets violence. But, I'm sorry, it's a lot more than, video games or movies or music. You don't have the proper resources put into education. You don't have opportunity. So if I'm not sitting around listening to music, where is the opportunity in that community? And then in addition to that, when you talk about having resources, the federal government says they want to have less money. If you make D.C. a state, you get the same thing. You're not draining the federal government. And then you don't have the, and Republicans should like this because they want more state power and they want less federal government involved in our lives.
Fucking based. Fully agree with that. I understand that she's more Republican based, but on that, 100% agreed with her. This lady can go sit on a bag of somethings. I'm keeping it somewhat friendly. I almost got banned. Oh boy. Yeah, no, disagree with this stupid bitch. But her, yeah, this is not about video games. This is about actual problems in the state.
Your last thought, Charles?
To blame this on city budgets is outrageous. This is a cultural problem. people have been much poorer than people are right now and did not have this kind of violence. There wasn't runaway murders like there was, and there were people who were living and dying based on whether the crop came in or not. We have been a destitute, much poorer country, much more, we've been in much worse conditions than this and didn't have the kind of violent outburst that we're having right now. I think that's an excuse that
I never said that.
I think it's an excuse that provides cover, that says what you do is okay because there's not enough money in education. So if you
That's not what she was saying, dude. I understand what you're saying as well, but guess what, buddy? Two things can be true at once. Yes, there is a problem with a father in the home. I understand that in that community, and it's sad. But two things can be true at once. Culturally, there can be some problems, and systemically, with certain things, not with skin color, but with just where you just happen to live at that point, there are problems. Like, for instance, I think credit cards should not be allowed to charge 30% interest on credit card debt. Because I think that's a trap for stupid people, or for people who have no understanding in basic finances. There's just certain things that I think that shouldn't be. But they be. So, moving on from that, I think this guy's right on some things and wrong on others. We'll move on and see what. So what the heck happened to this guy, Big Balls?
Her confirmation in the U.S. Senate. We're delighted to be joined by my dear friend, the new U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Can I still call you Judge?
You can call. There was another homicide, so we're now at 99 homicides so far this year. There's no question that Washington, D.C. has an incredible number of homicides. You know, and you can say that violence and crime is down, but the truth is violence is more lethal than it's ever been. And when we say it's down from what?
Right, real high.
Okay, we've got carjackings that are up 111%. The problem...
It's down from COVID. That's what I would assume.
In D.C. and President Trump, in his effort to make D.C. safe and beautiful, said to me, I want you to enforce the law to make sure that there's accountability. And I spoke to the president yesterday at length about what was going on here. I said, if you're 14, 15, 16, or 17 years old, you get coddled, as you do in most American Democrat cities. So I can't...
Again... 14 years old. Let's think about that. 14-year-old doing crime. Depending on the crime, he should do the time. Yes, I agree with that. But if it's stealing, the kid's parents just have to give his stuff back. And also, maybe just made a little suggestion. Whatever the kid steals, the parents have to give the property back, plus the tax on what that value of said stolen property is. So if a kid steals $100 worth of stuff, parents have to essentially give all the stuff away and give the business 30% of what that stuff is. So they give the business $30. Kind of an example. I don't know. Just talking on my end at this point.
Charge these people. This young kid who worked at the White House was beaten to a pulp. He's got a broken nose. He's got a severe concussion. He's battered all over his head, okay, by a gang of punks. 10 of them, I believe. 2 have been arrested, 2 15-year-olds. None of them come to my office, Laura, because they're not considered criminals. They go to family court where the effort is rehabilitation. The D.C. Council, and the president is right, they've got to stop their coddling. Number one, we've got to lower the age of responsibility to 14. I'm tired of having these kids commit crimes in their crews, not gangs in D.C. We've got an intern, you said it in your open. He's an intern from college. He gets shot going out for McDonald's at 10:30 at night. This kid is trying to help his girlfriend or his friend to a car. He gets assaulted, and but for a cop going by, they would have, had they gotten him on the ground, they would have stopped him and finished him. He was able to stay standing. This has to end. The council has this youth incarceration.
That kid is a little hero. You're telling me that his... Okay, so from what I understand is him and his girlfriend were going to a car, and 10 thugs approached him. God knows what these people look like or what they're going to do to him or his girlfriend. He decides to grab his girl, throw him into the car, lock the door, and essentially just receive a beating from 10 people. That's a fucking hero right there, dude. That's a hero right here. Damn. Okay.
Stay standing. This has to end. The council has this Youth Incarceration Act where we had a guy who shot a kid on a bus, not justified, with an illegal gun. You know what the sentence was? Probation. The judge said go to college. Okay? He took an illegal gun. He should be jailed for the illegal gun. Forget about the shooting. You put that on top of the gun. Then what we've got are kids who are out there who are making fun of all of this, doing carjackings, and I can't touch them because they want to protect them.
They know that, and that's why they travel.
Okay, now that is some new information that I did not know about. Okay, so if it's organized crime and these kids are committing organized crime at this point, yeah, I think you need to put them in juvie. I think you need to put them in juvie.
And
Do know that.
And the older kids send out the younger kids to do the real dirty work because they know they're fine.
Accountability. They absolutely understand. And youth violence is on the rise.
Yeah,
not
that's
just in
organized
DC,
crime.
but across the country. And if you think that these kids need to be coddled and they need to be hugged, they need to have consequences. They need to understand that enough is enough, that we're going to put them in jail or some kind of youth rehabilitation detention facility and not allow the D.C. Council, one of whom I just recently indicted, to take cover for these kids. It's time to end it. That's what the president wants. That's what we're going to do.
Look at what worked in New York City when Giuliani was mayor. He went after the small crimes, which led to reducing
Quality
the
of
big
life.
crimes. So the quality of life. So people defecating in the streets, blocks from the Capitol, which
Rudy Giuliani, he cleaned up the streets of New York, and he cleaned them up good. Everybody loved Rudy Giuliani. Everybody loved him ever since, until he literally decided to go for bat for Trump. I mean, I gotta say, guys, I still gotta say W for Rudy Giuliani. He really is. He's done good work. Now, if the whole Trump thing, that's his journey. But when it comes to taking out criminals off the streets, he's done amazing work, and I hope we get more people that do the same thing.
I saw the other day. That was lovely. The tents on K Street, the tents under the tunnels over here. They cleared up some of those out in front of Union Station, but it's horrific. This is the nation's capital.
Exactly.
And all over the United States, we have a similar story told. St. Louis, we've still seen blight
everywhere.
That is another thing. I'm just so sick and tired of seeing homeless people in their little tents and communities. I'm tired of looking at it. I'm just tired of seeing it. The amount of money that I paid in taxes and the amount of money that my parents have paid in taxes is freaking ridiculous. And the fact that we have to even look at that shit annoys me. People are paying for their ability to go to the park and jog and not get harassed or step on anything sharp. What do I mean by that? We don't want homeless people in our parks. We don't want homeless people dropping needles or we step on them. We don't want homeless people in general. We don't want them in our parks. Go away. We pay for the parks. Get out. We pay for our city. I'm just over just seeing them. I'm over. Isn't that not what you guys feel at this point? I'm just tired of looking at them. I mean, that sounds so uppity and piece of shit like, but after staring at them for like 10 years, not even 10 years, I'd say it's not fair. I'd say like 7 years, 8 years, 7 years. After staring at them for 7, 8 years, you get tired of it. The amount of people I've almost killed driving because they're just crossing the street because they think everyone revolves around them and they don't care about their lives. Hola, how's it going? So the weekends we usually do what's going on, in the world. So Verizon will hop on Verizon on Monday or tomorrow.
They want D.C. now to be Baltimore.
Well, here's the thing. D.C. is the nation's capital. People come here for pride and patriotism.
I did start a little bit late today.
Carjacked or shot, get caught in the crossfire like a young kid did last month.
Judge, I've been hearing from my sources at the DOJ that there is a very, very big problem with staffing. Assistant attorney generals on down saying, we have great plans, we're doing great things, but we're down like 2/3 staff.
Yeah,
What's going on?
90 prosecutors.
Why is that happening?
60 investigators and paralegals. Because nobody cared. I'm telling you right now.
Because
nobody cared enough to make sure that office was running. I'm going to have that office running. If you want a job in the nation's capital, in the premier office, the largest U.S. attorney's office, contact me at Janine.
What's her number? What's your number, lady? I'll put these people in jail. I don't care. I'd be like, oh, okay, I see. Knockout game, jail. Oh, carjacking, jail. Oh, theft, jail. Oh, assault, jail. I don't care. Put them all in jail. I'm over it. Make them actually work in jail too. Make them actually get a big rock and make them into small rocks. That's their job.
Got Pirro at USDOJ. Got that.
Are you talking to the
what?
USDOJ? Okay, got it. Are you talking to the D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Okay, so.
Well, anyways, that's crazy. This poor bastard. If I can get it. Yeah. This guy literally, from what I understand, he was going to his car with his girlfriend. 10 guys rushed up on him. He threw his girlfriend into the car, locked the door, probably threw the keys in there with her, and he basically took a beating and fought off 10 people, receiving just a bad broken body in the process. That guy's a fucking hero.